The Alien Cosmic Expo will be held in Brantford, Ontario, June 26, 27, 28, and will feature 24 internationally acclaimed experts and researchers of UFOs, crop circles, alien abductions, and much more in this 3-day 2015 summer Canadian event. Experts in the field of extraterrestrials and alien encounters, out-of-body experiences, past life regression, soul reading, psychic, and mediumship will all be presented with professionalism, integrity, and credibility, making the Alien Cosmic Expo the largest event of its kind in Canada for 2015. The exhibitor hall will feature a spectacular lineup of gifted mediums, psychics, astrologers, channelers, aura photography, healers, as well as books, DVDs, alternative health products, crystals, jewelry, and much more, completing the venue with something for everyone. For all information and to purchase your tickets for the Alien Cosmic Expo, go to www.aliencosmicexpo.com. That's www.aliencosmicexpo.com. This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to Hour 2 of the X-Zone for Thursday, June the 11th, 2015. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network. And no, we're not on Talkstar anymore. Why the heck did I say that? We used to be on Talkstar, but for a number of years now we haven't been on Talkstar. We are on the Starcom Radio Network. My apologies to all the listeners and affiliates at Starcom. We're here live around the world each and every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. Now, if you'd like to give us a call, our toll-free number is 800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or while we're broadcasting, on air at X-Zone Radio TV. You can always listen to the X-Zone 724-365 at www.xzoneradiotv.com and on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. My guest this hour is an author of a historical fiction series entitled The Chronicles of Iona, an acclaimed historical fiction series based on the lives of the 6th century Donegal saint and statesman Columba, founder of the famous monastery of Iona, and the Scottish warlord Aidan MacGabharan, of the Scottish kings and the greatest warlord of his age. Joining me now is PAULA. And PAULA, how do I pronounce your family name? I apologize.
No, that's fine. That's a tough one. It's pronounced FOUGEROLLES.
FOUGEROLLES. What a beautiful name.
Yes, thank you. I can't account for it as my husband's, but I'm very happy with it.
Would you mind if I called you PAULA for the interview?
That is just fine.
First of all, PAULA, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Now, where in Europe are you?
I am currently in Waterloo, Belgium.
Wow. And here we are in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. We're both joined here and around the world on the Starcom radio network. Technology is wonderful.
It is, yes.
Paula, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you said, I am an author and a medieval historian, and at the moment I am working on book 3 in a series set in 6th century Scotland and Ireland, and having a great time.
What is your fascination with the past?
I love the fact that as a species, we've really not changed all that much. I love going to historical sites and reading the landscape, if you like, and sort of seeing in the landscape the fact that men and women are pretty much the same as we have always been, and finding the stories in that.
Tell us about your stories. Tell us about your award-winning series, The Chronicles of Iona.
Okay. I'll start by saying that I knew I was going to be a writer when I was very young. I was one of those kids who had a very clear idea of what they wanted their lives to look like. So at the age of 8, I wrote my first novel, and it was awful, as first novels usually are. I stuck it in the desk of my the drawer of my desk, and I think it's probably still there. But it got me started. My influences really are, and sort of maybe your listeners will laugh when they hear this, because this is true for a lot of writers of historical or fantasy fiction. But I loved the worlds that J.R.R. Tolkien created in The Lord of the Rings.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, and also C.S. Lewis in his Narnia series. Yeah. And so I decided that what I wanted to do was learn as much about the Middle Ages as I could, because that's what Tolkien had done. He was a professor of Anglo-Saxon at Oxford University. So I decided that's what I would do at 8. I would write books, and I would become a medieval historian. And so that's a long story, which we can get into in a little bit if we like. But basically, I kept at that. I kept along that path, and ended up getting a degree in medieval history, and then finding over the course of that research these two men, Columba, or Columkill, who was an Irish saint who was kicked out of Ireland for deeds that nobody has really been able to discover. They were bad, though. They exiled him in 563. And he landed in Scotland, which is really not in the Western Isles of Scotland, which is not that far away. It's only 14 miles. And he, instead of sort of falling apart, as some of us might have, this was in the Middle Ages, this is a true story, he actually sort of became the founder of the most famous monastery in the Middle Ages. And he hooked up with this. He became very friendly with a local warlord. And together they founded a kingdom which eventually became the Kingdom of the Scots. And to me, that was thrilling to discover in sort of the dusty pages of history this story, which was true and fascinating. And I knew the minute I started to read about it that I wanted to fictionalize their story and to write about them.
You know, given your upbringing in Long Island, New York, what inspired you to write about Scottish-Irish history and spirituality?
Yeah, that's a strange one, because that, yeah, exactly. I tried explaining that to my parents. They couldn't make that out either. But
yeah, but parents are the last to understand their kids.
Yeah. I think my mom gets it now. But I have to say, I think it really was, Tolkien, but it was also Arthurian myth and legend.
Oh, right.
We're all fascinated. We're all still fascinated by Arthurian legend. So I decided I wanted to find out whether any of it was true or not. So in high school, I started to do research in that, and I discovered that a lot of the Arthurian legend is basically Celtic in nature, and I wanted to find out more about that, and that got me into the history of the Celtic-speaking peoples. And that means Wales and Ireland and Scotland and the Isle of Man and Cornwall, although they're reviving the language, it's not a lived language anymore, and also Brittany and France. So it really was following the history behind stories that I loved.
You know, I love the television show. I don't know if you've heard of it, the Game of Thrones.
Yes, yeah.
I'm addicted to it.
I have to say, to be very honest, and I'm sorry, Mr. George R. Martin, but I have not watched the televised version of it because
Really?
I think partly I didn't want to be influenced.
Right.
And also, I was an early adopter of George R. R. Martin. I have a signed copy of his very first book, I just love the way he constructs his narrative, at least in his written version of his stories. And he taught me many things about how to write narratives, but I haven't let myself watch the TV version of it.
You know,
but I hear it's excellent. Yeah, I hear it's excellent.
I respect that because I enjoy reading a good book, and I let the theater of my mind just go loose. And
yes, yeah.
when the theater of your mind is compared to television or the giant movie screen, heck, they've got nothing on your mind, because you know what? In your mind, X-Zone Nation, you're the director, you're the cast, you're the crew, you're the lighting director, you're the grip,
I love it. Yes, that's a great analogy. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Or a metaphor, yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Listen, I understand that you graduated with a PhD from Cambridge University and were a Watson Fellow from Brandeis University?
Yeah, Brandeis University is in Massachusetts. Yeah, that's where I went to college. And I got very lucky. People have really been very helpful, considering my interests were so kind of obscure. I've really had angels looking over my shoulder. And when I was graduating from Brandeis University, Fair Goldstein, I'm just going to throw her name out there, she who was in charge of the a program to help kids study abroad, she said, you should apply for a Watson Fellowship. And I had no idea what that was. The Thomas J. Watson Fellowship is and I'm going to put this out there because I think your listeners, especially the Canadians, I think certain Canadian colleges can apply to students can apply to this for this too, but it's a fellowship, a year-long traveling fellowship where basically they give you money to travel anywhere in the world to follow sort of passions that fall outside the normal kind of modes or the normal structures. So I was awarded this fellowship, so I got to travel by myself around Europe for a year, and this was 20-something years ago. So this was before, if you can imagine this. This was just me with my backpack, and it was before even cell phones. There was no computers, there was no social media, no email, no cell phone. So it really was this kind of old-fashioned pilgrimage to museum sites and museums and sites, and I got to put my hands on manuscripts that they don't let you touch anymore, and it was awesome. So that really kind of the research that I did then allowed me to sort of hit all the spots that now are showing up in the series. And then when I got back, met my husband, we got married. We moved back to Cambridge, UK. He was doing a work there, and I started talking to the professors in the Anglo-Saxon, Norse, and Celtic department. I mean, what a cool department that is, right?
I bet.
They specialize in the early languages, literatures, and histories of the people who lived in the British Isles before the year 1500. So it's very specialized, which is just what I wanted. And they said, I was like Hermione Granger. I said, can I sit in on some classes? And they said, yeah. So I sat in on every single class they offered, and I always had my hand up in the back, right? I'm like, oh, pick me. So eventually I think I got on their nerves so much, or I don't know what, but they said, why don't you do a PhD since you're obviously very passionate about this? So I did. And that was great. I really felt like I really kind of got to really dive into the source material and really just devour it all.
I've noticed in your book that you touch on the paranormal, you touch on the strange, you touch on the bizarre, you touch on religion. But in your book, The Chronicles of Iona Exile, there's a mention of the Loch Ness Monster. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. So this Saint Columba, who lived and worked after he was exiled from Ireland, he lived and he worked on the west coast of Scotland. And this is very famous. This is in the primary source for what I write about is the life of Saint Columba, meaning a life hagiographical text. Was these were very popular in the Middle Ages. They were the means by which people promoted a saint's cult. So they said, look, like we're going to this church and this saint founded it and the saint's really cool. Look at all the miracles and things that he performed in his life. So they wrote a life about Columba, and it's one of the earliest hagiographical texts that we have, period. But in this life of St. Columba is the very first written appearance of the Loch Ness Monster. And that's just awesome. So the story goes that Columba was traveling up the Great Glen of Scotland. That's the big sort of series of rivers and lochs that go from the southwest corner of Scotland, or Argyll and the Isles, all the way up to the north coast. And the biggest part of this is Loch Ness. And in the life of St. Columba, Columba is traveling up Loch Ness because he's going to convert the king of the Picts. He wants to convert him to Christianity, and they're traveling along, and they see on the riverbank that a young man has been savaged by something, and he's being buried by his people. So the Columba, he's wacky in a way, but he tells one of his monks to dive into the water and go investigate, right? And the monk's like, okay. So he jumps in the water, and the Loch Ness Monster rises up underneath him and nearly eats him. He eats this poor monk who has been commanded to go into the water. So Columba stands in the prow of his boat, and he says, leave that poor man alone and go away, basically, in Latin, to this Loch Ness Monster, and the Loch Ness Monster does. So, of course, that episode has to make it into the book. I mean, obviously, we need to use it. But that is the very first mention of the Loch Ness Monster, and that dates from between 563 and 574 AD, that episode.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think the legend of the Loch Ness Monster has stayed alive for all these years? I really think it's because a couple of things. We need to believe, and we have every right to believe, in myth and magic in our lives. There's probably, I can think of 5 different reasons now, but the other one is that for the people who lived at that time in the 6th century, in the 500s, it really was a hinge period in history. It was a time when the old world was passing away and a new world was beginning. And we go through those periodically over the course of the millennia that we've been alive through history. But this was one of them, the 6th century. It was a big, big one. And the world of myth and magic and gods and goddesses was passing away to be replaced by a more rational, scientifically based sort of mindset, a consciousness. But it didn't, the shadow world, if you like, didn't entirely go out of existence, and it still hasn't. I think we need to believe in them. I think that, I could go on for ages about this, but I also like to throw in the fact that, scientists have discovered that there are 21 dimensions, not just the 3 or 4 that we know about. And so who knows what's out there that we just can't really see? I think it's a complicated answer. And I guess we'll leave it at that. Let me see. I also understand that at one time you did tarot card readings.
I still do. Yeah, I still do.
So you've never wandered very far away from the paranormal or from the strange, the weird, the mysterious, and bizarre.
No, because what fun would that be to leave that all behind? I mean,
that's my world. I've been living in this world for 24 years now.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said, this is the world I live in on a daily basis.
Yeah. I mean, but the other thing for me is that all of that's entirely normal. It took me a very long time to realize that the way I experienced the world, the things that I've seen and felt, and the things that I know or have stumbled across, the synchronicities, it's taken me a very long time to realize that not everybody else sees the world that way, but I think that's true for all of us. We have our own filters, and everybody's is unique and special to themselves. Mine happens to be wide open and full of wonder.
You and I have to take a short break at the bottom of the hour. Paula, please stand by. When we come back, let's talk about, let me see here. Let's talk about the devil, angels, and a little bit about God. How does that sound?
Okay.
Exo Nation, I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Now, still to come on tonight's show, Lieutenant Colonel Kevin Randall is going to be joining me. We're going to be discussing the claims made by Richard Sauder earlier this week that the United States, Israel, and the Saudis created ISIS just to feed the war machine and the industrial complex. We're also going to be asking Lieutenant Colonel Randall about the claims made by Richard Sauder that the United States military and the CIA are the two world's biggest drug traffickers. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. Oh, one more thing. Remember Cal Korff? Well, he's raising his ugly head again, slamming or trying to slam Don Ecker, as well as Kevin Randall. We're going to get an update from Kevin on this as well, because Cal Korff, you're a legend in your own mind. You're a very small legend, by the way, Cal, which in my opinion means you have a very small mind. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and you're listening to us live and around the world on the Starcom Radio Network. Don't go away.
Manifestation is driven by imagination, intent, and passion. In our culture, all three have been distorted and disabled by modern media and exploitation. Re-engage your imagination and your passion by entering into the world of paranormal romance. Kahir O'Donnell takes her readers on an exciting journey into the endless possibilities of loving, passionate, and mutually respectful male-female relationship. Her latest book, The Long Dark Night, features special ops adventure, a daring rescue, a psychic woman from the stars, and a special agent that will die to protect her. The Long Dark Night by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or Amazon.com. With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com.
Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerreonian intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earthwoman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com.
The Alien Cosmic Expo will be held in Brantford, Ontario, June 26, 27, 28, and will feature 24 internationally acclaimed experts and researchers of UFOs, crop circles, alien abductions, and much more in this 3-day 2015 summer Canadian event. Experts in the field of extraterrestrials and alien encounters, out-of-body experiences, past life regression, soul reading, psychic, and mediumship will all be presented with professionalism, integrity, and credibility, making the Alien Cosmic Expo the largest event of its kind in Canada for 2015. The exhibitor hall will feature a spectacular lineup of gifted mediums, psychics, astrologers, channelers, auraphotography, healers, as well as books, DVDs, alternative health products, crystals, jewelry, and much more, completing the venue with something for everyone. For all information and to purchase your tickets for the Alien Cosmic Expo, go to www.aliencosmicexpo.com. That's www.aliencosmicexpo.com.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Splenda, and you're listening to my dad, Rob McConnell, on the X-Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X-Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to The X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. Don't forget, Ed Till, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. right here and exclusively on the Starcom Radio Network. This guy is truly a broadcast legend. If you think Howard Stern is hot, well, I'm going to tell you something. Ed Till sizzles. In fact, Howard, if you're listening, you could still learn a few things from Ed Till. Once again, that's Monday through Friday. The Ed Till Show, exclusively on Starcom. We're talking about the Chronicles of Iona this hour, the Chronicles of Iona Exile, and the Chronicles of Iona Prophet. Our guest is their author. Her first name is Paula, and Paula, I'm going to ask you to do your second name again, and once again, my apologies.
My second name is de Fougerolles. It's Paula de Fougerolles.
What nationality is de Fougerolles?
French. It's French.
Oh, that's right. You're in Belgium. Hello.
Yes.
What time is it over there? Is it about...
Oh, it's 3:37 in the morning.
And God bless you. You got up just to be with the X-Zone Nation. We thank you for that, Paula.
It's a pleasure.
All right, Paula, listen, the books have an otherworldly feel to them. No two ways about it. We talked a few minutes ago about the Loch Ness Monster. There are bits about God, the devil, and angels in your book. Tell me about that.
Well, I have woven into the stories experiences that I have had myself, and some of them are very dark, and some of them are very light.
Tell me about the dark ones.
The dark one, and when you guys read the books, which I know you will, the one of the worst things sort of that had ever happened to me that really spooked me it shows up as a scene in the Chronicles of Iona Exile. If we have time, I'll tell you about it. I had come back from this Watson Fellowship that I told you about. So I had been traveling by myself for a year, which before social media actually was very difficult sort of personally to be by yourself for a whole year, traveling every 2 or 3 days to a new location with sort of nobody to talk to. And I came home, and I think that I was depressed. I was clinically depressed. It was also a big year, and then it was sort of like a lull, a down period in my life, which we all have now and again. And I was laying on a futon mattress in my rented apartment, and I thought that I was asleep, but I think knowing your audience, I'm just going to put this out there. I woke up and I realized that I was actually looking out the window, which was a good 3 feet off the floor. And I sort of looked at the window and I said, well, how, the rational part of my brain said, how is that possible? I'm sleeping on a futon on the floor. And at the same time, I felt that I wasn't alone in the room. So I sort of rolled my head back towards the door. And in the corner of the room was a small, man-shaped, human-shaped shadow figure that was occupying the corner of the room, and I felt such a sense of kind of malice and interest coming from it, and it really spooked me. It was like it was alive. It was like it was sentient, and it was like that it had come for me. And I sort of I laid there watching it for a little bit, and the thought that came into my mind, the words that came into my mind were, come with me, be mine. And the words that came into my mind in response, and thank goodness for this, was, I thought, no, I still have hope. And with that, I slammed back down on the bed and it disappeared. And I got up, and I was so frightened by what I had seen and so unnerved that within a month I had changed my job. I had changed the town that I lived in. I moved from New York up to Massachusetts, and then within 2 months, because of that move, I had met my husband, which was an angelic part of the story. I don't know if we have time for that.
Sure we do. Sure we do.
Okay, so that was sort of like a physical manifestation of evil that really got me moving in another direction entirely in my life. And I moved up to Massachusetts, and I was working in a biomedical research lab. And I said to myself, okay, Paula, you got to get your act together. You're going to work during the day. You're going to start writing your novels, because that's what I knew I wanted to do. And that's it. No socializing, no dating, no nothing. Just work and write. And I did that for a good month, until I was in work one morning. I was there at about 8:30. Work started at 9, and I was. I'm going to say this. I was having a cigarette. I only smoked for 2 years of my life, and that was one of the years.
All right, your secret is safe with us. Your secret is safe. Just you and I and a couple of million people know it now.
Yeah. So I was having a cigarette in the mailroom of this biomedical research lab, and it was a converted car warehouse that they converted into lab space. And I was looking up the open stairway to the second floor, and having my cigarette and my cup of coffee to wake up. And along the top on the second floor, I could see this flash of the back of a blonde head. And the minute I saw the back of this head up on the second floor, a voice said very loudly in my right ear, "There he is." And my hair blew forward. And I turned around. I was in this tiny little mailroom, and there was, of course, nobody there. But again, I took that as sort of an intervention, if you like, and obeyed it and got myself upstairs later in the day and sort of sussed out the man who would become my husband. And within 6 weeks we were together. We were married, and a year and a half later, we've been together for 22 years, and he's my best friend.
What is his take on the paranormal? Does he kind of roll his eyes back when you start talking about the paranormal, or is he a believer?
You know, I think he believes on the basis of my experiences. He's a very rational man. He's a scientist, but he has lived with me long enough to see the world through my eyes and to have lived alongside me while some of these things are going on. So he is fully open-minded and open-hearted about it, even if he doesn't experience these things himself.
Why do you think in today's society so many people are turning to the paranormal? For example, your books, television shows like The King of Thrones, or the different ghost hunting shows, or even this radio show. Why do you think people are kind of tuning out of reality and seeking answers in other venues?
It's a matter, for me, it's a matter of balance. I think that we're all starving for meaning. I think we are desperate. I mean, the primary job that any human being has to tackle over the course of their lives is to understand, if as far as they are able, what the meaning of life is. And for everyone, the answer will be different. But for many of us, it requires that we open ourselves up to the possibility that there is more than just a physical existence and then death without a continuation of human consciousness. And I think that historically, I'm a student of history. I've studied history, I've studied all periods of history, and I love it, and I know it very deeply. And you can see over history these swing along, not really a pendulum, but up and down along a line between very rational and very spiritual, very rational and very spiritual. But all of us, I think, as a species, we're always trying to move back towards a balance, and I think we have been out of balance the whole last century.
Do you think we'll finally get our act pulled back together again, and we will continue as a species instead of blowing ourselves to kingdom come?
I think that we're very good at survival, and I am an optimist, and I think the answer is yes.
I hope you're right.
Yes,
I've got to tell you something. I agree with you. And there are so many people in today's society that seem to be using the ostrich way of coping. They stick their head in the sand and put their butt in the air, hoping that everything will be solved one way or another, that they don't want to get involved. However, there are people like yourself and myself who put a lot of faith in this human race. After all, like you said, we've been here for millions of years. However, you've got people who say that we're under watch by aliens, extraterrestrials, and are the extraterrestrials of today the angels of yesterday?
I've been reading recently. I'm just going to find the author. It's called The Sacred History, and the author is Jonathan Black, and How Angels, Mystics, and Higher Intelligence Made Our World. And that's one of his. That's the main premise for him. Yeah. And I can my own personal story about that is I have never seen an alien. I have faith that they exist, and the reason is because my father worked on the Apollo missions.
Oh, really? Wow.
He did, yeah. He was an electrical engineer, and he worked down in New Mexico, which is where I was born, on the Apollo missions. And they stationed him down there with my mom and my brother, and I was a baby. But he said that he was working on. So imagine that he's working on the the most advanced aircraft ever created by humankind.
Right.
I mean, this was state-of-the-art technological. They were the head of the space race. Yeah. And he said that one night he and my mother were driving home from a dinner party. He was a very moderate man, so he was sober, which is important for the story. But he was driving home, and they were in the desert in New Mexico, and all alone. It was probably about 11 o'clock at night. And he said that he saw ahead of him down the road, and he saw a craft rise from the surface of the desert to the air vertically, and then disappear. And he had never seen anything like it before, but he also knew that it was beyond their capabilities at the time. It moved in a way that he knew that he could not have achieved. He and the other scientists who were working, the other engineers, could not have achieved, had not yet achieved the technology that could allow a craft to move in the way that he saw this one do. And he told me this very late in life. He died soon thereafter, so I didn't get a chance to really kind of delve into it the way I wanted to. But that wasn't his only experience with that. So for me personally, if my father tells me, a very reticent man, a very humble man, and a very moderate man, that he saw this, I have to believe him.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
There has to be more to life than we know. There has to be. You know, it makes no sense that here we are in the year 2015 that we know everything that is and everything that was and everything there will be. I think if we think that way, we're very naive and very closed-minded.
Yeah, it's hubris because there are worlds yet to be discovered. My husband works on the human body. That's worlds within worlds. So we're just sort of getting our foothold into space.
Yeah.
We haven't even really delved into our own beautiful planet, which we're in the middle of destroying. So yes, I mean, it's hubris to think that we know everything.
When you look at the solar system, the sun and the planets and their orbits, and when you compare that to an atom, you know, you've got the center of the atom, and then you have the little, protons, neutrons that zip around.
Don't ask me. I'm a writer.
They look like miniature solar systems.
Yeah.
So if these atoms are in fact like solar systems, can you imagine what we're part of?
Yes, I know. It's mind-blowing. It's wonderful.
It is. You know, Paula, it's been such a great pleasure speaking with you this evening here on the X. And I want to thank you so much for getting up so early to share this wonderful story with us. Where can our listeners get copies of your book?
Well, the books are available on Amazon, Amazon.com. If they Google Chronicles of Iona or my last name, de Fougerolles, there aren't very many de Fougerolles. There's only 13 of us in the world, so I'm right up there on the search, the lists that are generated. So Amazon.com, but also my own website, which is pauladefougerolles.com. And I think I'll just spell this because I'm sure this is just difficult for everybody listening, but it's Paula, PAUGEROLLES.com.
What is your final message for the listeners of the X-Zone Nation tonight here on the Starcom Radio Network, Paula? Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom. A couple. Follow. I know this is becoming trite, but do follow your passion. I mean, we all. This is what I tell my own children. We're given at a very early age an understanding of what we need to make our lives complete. So, do that. Follow that with courage, as far as you're able. The other is to open your eyes and see the wonder of the world, and care for it and celebrate it.
That is so true, because so many people walk through this world on their journey with blinders, and they're missing so much.
It's a great gift to be here.
It certainly is, and I am very happy that you shared your gift with us tonight here in the X Zone. Please take care of yourself, and I would love to have the pleasure of talking to you again.
Thank you.
Good night, Paula.
Good night.
Exonation, we'll be back on the other side of this short break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. What's that you say? You want to know your horoscopes? What's that you say you want baby foofy? By the way, over 22,000 of you voted to have us keep my little girl, baby foofy, here for the summer, reading the horoscopes. Only 16 listeners didn't want her. I'm sorry, I had to vote against her. You know, just to make things a little interesting. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and around the world on the Starcom Radio Network.
Spooky, huh? That's supposed to be spooky from Poltergeist. I'm back! Your X Zone radio show horoscopes for the week of June 8, 2015 to June 14, 2015. Brought to you by me, Baby Foofy. Let's start with Aries, born March 21st to April 19. Lovely and friendly influences make for a very upbeat week marked by good spirits and general camaraderie. Even so, you'll be busy with administrative tasks, meeting, and other work. Things speed up considerably on Thursday as Mercury turns direct, meaning you can now start any projects that had fallen by the wayside. Finally, shared finances come back into focus as Saturn backs into Scorpio. Handling your money with care can help you save quite a bit for a rainy day. Taurus, April 20 to May 20. You'll be busy spending the cash this week as tempting offers and impulsive purchases seem to call out to you. You'll also have opportunities to close some lucrative deals and make quite a bit of money in the process. Buying and selling seems to go well, particularly from Thursday when Mercury pushes ahead once again. From this point on, any delays you've experienced should begin to melt away. Finally, a key relationship comes under the microscope as Saturn backs into Scorpio. Gemini, May 21st to June 20. If you're looking for a new job, this is an excellent time to send out resumes and let everyone know about your plans. Socializing also goes very well, making this one of the better weeks to treat a love interest to lunch or network and make some new friends. Even so, be choosy about what you commit to when it comes to your daily routine. From this week on, weed out activities that aren't strictly necessary, giving you more time to relax and recharge. Cancer, June 21 to July 22. Mild anxiety could be caused by not quite having a handle on a situation or a key issue. You can easily put this to rest with the help of a well-meaning friend. Their perspective could be crucial in bringing you peace of mind. Meanwhile, it's another wonderful shopping week. There's a good chance you'll find just what you've been looking for. Research your options before you hit the stores, though, as there are lots of bargains to be had if you do. Leo, July 23rd to August 22nd. You seem to be in high gear and raring to go this week, especially with Venus encouraging you to reach out and make new friends. This can be an ideal time to organize parties, celebrations, and other important events. If you need publicity for a charity or business venture, any advertising you do can be very effective. When Saturn hikes back into Scorpio and your family sector, be sure to delegate extra responsibilities. Don't be tempted to take on the burden all by yourself. Virgo, August 23 to September 22. Take up the reins this week and keep going in the direction in which success is likeliest. The delightful focus on the communicative side of Gemini becomes a good positive mark with a project or plan. It's a high energy week when you'll be motivated to reach your goals. Other people's input can be crucial to helping you get ahead, so be sure to ask for advice if you need it. Later, make a point of switching off mentally and relaxing your mind, body, and soul. Libra, September 23rd to October 22nd. A desire to study, travel, and absorb new experiences could lead you to make some interesting plans. If you want to see more of the world, upgrade your skill set, or get a qualification, this is the time to do it. Research your options, but also be aware that opportunities could come right out of the blue. Keep your eyes peeled. Mercury pushes ahead from Thursday, so delays should soon melt away. Adopt good money management practices and save yourself anxiety. Scorpio, October 23rd to November 21st. If you're planning a project, attend to the details because you could underestimate the time, the workload, or the expense involved. The continued focus on shared resources can either help you earn money or encourage you to waste it. If you're considering consolidating your debts or taking out a loan, wait until Mercury turns direct on Thursday to experience a smoother transaction. Saturn moves back into your sign on Sunday, encouraging you to release feelings that may be holding you back. Sagittarius, November 22nd to December 21st. Here's a chance to breathe new life into your relationship this week and over the weeks ahead. If you've been busy and neglected your friends or even a loved one, make the most of this opportunity to spend quality time with those you truly care about. Business matters look set to thrive if you stick to a plan. However, a scattered approach could result in losses, so it pays to get good advice. Wait until after Thursday to close the deals or commit to contracts. Capricorn, December 22nd to January 19th. Oh, you may be lucky, or you could generate luck by figuring out how to create opportunities. A lively focus on your work and lifestyle zone means you can excel at your job because of your ability to relate to people from all walks of life. That's a talent for sure. Saturn backs into your social sector on Sunday, so you'll be eager to find people who can help you achieve your goals. Who you know rather than what you know seems to count for the foreseeable future. Capricorn, December 22nd to January 19th. You may be lucky, or you could generate luck by figuring out how to create opportunities. A lively focus on your work and lifestyle zone means you can excel at your job because of your ability to relate to people from all walks of life. Saturn backs into your social sector on Sunday, so you'll be eager to find people who can help you achieve your goals. Who you know rather than what you know seems to count for the foreseeable future. Aquarius, January 20, February 18. There's a relaxed and easy pace over the week ahead, but be careful it doesn't lull you into thinking you can let things slide. Although the focus is on leisure, pleasure, romance, and fun, the cosmos also encourages you to get back on track regarding an important career move or personal ambition. With Saturn backing into Scorpio on Sunday, you'll have a second bite of the cherry regarding a project or opportunity that you thought you'd missed. Pisces, February 19 to March 20. A major focus on your home and family sector can see you happily working on do-it-yourself projects, redecorating, clearing out clutter, and getting your place shipshape. Entertaining at home or someplace else can be very successful, particularly if you're the host. If you're considering buying or selling property, wait until after the Mercury turns direct on Thursday, giving you the best possible chance of success. Later, taking a long-term course on a favorite subject might be good for you. This is BB Fuffy signing off for the X-Zone Radio Show. Don't forget to send me your emails to bbfuffy@xzoneradiotv.com. This is BB Fuffy for the X-Zone Astrological Reading, signing off and wishing you and your loved ones well. Love you, bye!